It's Friday. Friday, TGIF.
And you're in a very good mood
Because my results came back benign. I love that word. I think it's an ugly word, but it's a beautiful word today.
It's a beautiful
benign.
word. Benign.
Benign. It's benign. Everything's benign.
Best possible news.
Best possible news. I had my biopsy, and
this one
was
y'all.
in the room. Okay, they were like trying to say that Ember could not be in the room, and they also told us we're not allowed to tell anybody that Ember got to go in the room.
But here we are telling you, I went in the room.
Ember went in the room, and we weren't taking no for an answer. And while I backed down a little bit, because I was just like, motherfucker, let's just get this over with. I'm not here to like argue with anybody. You stepped up and you used your voice. Like we said, the importance of using your voice. And while it's hard, you used it and it worked, and they regrouped and they were like, you know what? We'll make room for you, because there was 5 motherfuckers in there, and they were trying to say there's not enough room for my wife. And we were like, hold the front door.
I was like, you're telling me you can have 5 of y'all and my 125-pound ass can't be shoved in a corner somewhere? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I don't think she liked me all that much at first, but by the time the appointment was over, we were smiling at each other and everything was fine.
Yeah, we were all good.
But,
it was gnarly.
While I'm glad that I was in the room for your sake, and that was what I told them, was like, this isn't for me, this is for them, clearly. It was intense on my end. They did put me in a corner.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
But they did. They put me in a corner, and I was fine with it, but I had perfect fucking view of all the things happening. And I've never even been exposed to a mammogram before the last month, and I feel like I really just got like all the info in the
front row.
Yeah.
I had my eyes closed the whole time. I was disassociating and
finding your happy place.
Finding my happy place and meditating through all of it and breathing through it and holding my breath every time they had me hold my breath. And while they were telling me step by step what was happening, I was in my own world to get through what I needed to get through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was very intriguing at the same time, though. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off of what was happening because it was kind of cool, and technology has
come a long way.
It was pretty wild to know that like just what was happening and how quickly it was happening, and then like to get results like 24 hours later. And yeah, it's wild. But 10 out of 10 don't recommend watching somebody get a biopsy unless you're into that kind of stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm into it, but
there was a lot of blood.
There was a lot more than I expected. It wasn't like, anything crazy, but I guess I just thought to myself, like, a tiny needle, like, it can't be that bad. It was worse than I expected. And
we got through it. It was scary. I felt very emotional afterwards, lots of tears. I also started my period that morning, so I was like a double whammy with like emotions and bleeding and uncomfortableness, and just wanted to curl up in a ball. So as soon as I got home, that is what I did.
You were very low on iron for a hot minute.
Yeah, I was. I still am.
When Kirby tells me that they're craving meat, you know something is fucking wrong.
Yeah, I don't typically do that, but yesterday I found myself like really, really craving meat, and I don't eat meat. So we had to get that iron back up.
Yeah, it was a wild few days, but now we're back on track. And
I already called my plastic surgeon's office this morning and was like, yo, I'm like, what's the next steps? Like, I made it. I jumped through all of the hoops that you set me up to make sure everything was safe and Gucci for me to get this top surgery. Let me get a date. Let me get a, like, how much is it going to cost me? Is insurance going to say now that this is, a preventative and like kick in a little bit, or am I going to have to figure out a different route? Like that's where my head is right now. Just like my energy levels back up. I'm excited to be back on track with my surgeon, my plan, not somebody else's plan for a cancer treatment. So I'm very excited. I'm celebrating all weekend.
Yeah. As your significant other, I watched it go from like this dark cloud hanging over you where I was just trying so hard to help you get through it to like yesterday Kirby came to my work to
give you a kiss. I wanted to
fucking
just give you a
celebrate.
kiss.
When we found out the good news, and I walked out and they just had like the biggest smile on their face, and I haven't seen that in a few days, and it was a good moment.
Yeah. Felt good.
Nice to have you back.
Felt good. Those little scares can really bring me down.
Yeah. But today we're talking about intimacy.
Yeah, we thought we'd talk about intimacy, and
we saw a video that kind of made our ears perk up a little bit.
Yeah, what was
someone else just kind of chatting about she was sharing her experience of being with men most of her life, and then kind of the difference that she's noticed now that she's out and with a woman. And she talks about a lot of different things in her videos, but one of them that we saw was physical affection and intimacy that she never cared for prior. And now
physical touch, like that was like one of the love languages. I think we can both say that we felt maybe that was not our love language when we were married.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary. Yeah. And I think for me, like, I don't know, I guess I never even really thought about it. Like, I never thought I was lacking it until after I realized that.
Well, maybe there wasn't lacking, but the desire to reach out and to extend physical touch to previous partners that were men, maybe wasn't there.
It wasn't there. No. And that's kind of how I knew something was wrong too, which I think I've expressed to you before. Not that everybody has to be a physical toucher. I don't think that all relationships necessarily need that. I know a lot of people who are happy without even sleeping in the same bed. Weird, but hey, more power to you if that's what works for you. But I know for me, like, being able to compare the difference now, I was definitely lacking it. I just didn't realize it. I needed it. And I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that too. I think from my previous experiences with men, I was in situations where I could tell, especially with my first ex-husband, I could tell there was this underlining expectation for me the second he walked through the door or I was walking, like the greeting of after work, he would expect affection, right? The moment I'm walking through the door. Now, whether you're in a straight happy marriage or a straight confused marriage, that is uncomfortable regardless, to have this expectation already like laid out as like, when you walk through the door, you greet me with a kiss, you come up and kiss me, or you do this. It just feels very forced.
Yeah. I think a lot of that, if you have that mentality in your relationship, is probably a lot of the standards that society puts out there, just like a lot of other things. You know, you watch movies and it's like dad comes home from work and mom's in the kitchen with her apron on and stops what she's doing to run over and say, "Hi, honey, I'm so glad you're home. I'm cooking you this fucking dinner.
Scrubbing the floors all day,
yeah,
and I'm
it's like this
preparing this
picture
meal
that has been painted for so long.
So icky. So
It's
icky. I mean,
fucking
if you
icky.
love it and it lights you up, because, like, don't get me wrong, I love preparing food for you and cooking for you, but it's something we share together. There's moments of like laughter and dancing and kissing, and we are like collaborating on the recipe, and like maybe you're doing some of the prep work, or we're cleaning up. Like everything is like together, right? We're doing all of this together, and it's not this forced, like, this is your role, you stay in your lane. When I walk through the door, I'm the hero because I was out, bringing home the bacon.
Yeah.
And now you bow down and you kiss the fucking ground that I walk on.
Yeah. I think a lot of it too isn't even the difference of being in a straight relationship versus a lesbian relationship. I think it's just like finding the right person for you too.
100%.
Because I'm sure there's plenty of straight couples out there that are the same way we are, and they dance while they cook, and they are excited to give each other that affection when they come home. But like I've shared before, no disrespect to my ex-husband, but like when he would come home from work, I had no desire. And it wasn't that I was angry or even turned off or any of that. It was that there was just nothing there. Like I didn't care to give him a kiss when
Mhm.
he walked through the door. And like that, looking back now,
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, duh. Like,
Mhm.
how did I not realize? I mean, I did.
Mhm.
Eventually, I did realize. And that was part of the conversation I had with him when I officially came out to him was like, I know that's what you want, and you deserve somebody that wants to give that to you.
Right.
And I'm not too proud to say that, like, you should level up in that. Like, go find that someone that wants to just like attack you when you walk in the door. That someone is not me.
That's a hard thing. That is a hard thing to stand up and say to the person that you're in a current relationship with.
And
That
that
is a
you do
very
genuinely
hard thing.
care about.
Right. Because, yeah, it's not like out of spite, like, ew, gross, get away from me. I don't like boys.
Mm-hmm,
It is
mm-hmm.
very much like it is eating away at you inside because you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why don't I want to kiss this guy? Why don't I feel the urge to be like some of the other straight couples that I see?
Mm-hmm.
And you're constantly comparing and you're like, oh, maybe I'm just not like this. Or, the whole feeling of like when you are, intimate in the bedroom together, if you're crossing that off your list as like, whew, got that done and over with,
Bought myself
um,
5 days.
bought myself some time. 5 days. I was like a month, like bought myself a few weeks.
I
Uh,
think it's a huge red flag if you're intentionally avoiding intimacy with your partner.
yeah.
I don't care what kind of relationship you're in. I don't care how long you've been together. And
Well, I wouldn't even say just intentionally avoiding. I would also say just like going through the motions because we've also trained ourselves, and it goes back to childhood of like your parents telling you to go hug somebody and show somebody affection that you don't want to, or sit on their lap, or express some type of love that you're supposed to have for somebody maybe that you only meet twice a year or something. And like there's this like I said, this underlining expectation that we've been trained um to do our whole lives. And so then like you check the box and you get married, and then you're just like trained to go through the motions.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry I cut you off.
I lost the train of thought that I was
I
on.
know,
So
I feel
now
bad, I'm sorry. I just was like, well, because you were saying like it's not something you really desire.
yeah, I don't know. I just think that I've met couples personally who are like, no, we're so happy, but we don't even sleep in the same bed. And I know I've talked about this before, and it's okay to have different opinions on things, but my personal opinion is that if there's no desire to be physically intimate with the person that you're spending every single day with, that's odd to me. That doesn't
But for
feel.
some couples though, from the other angle, for some couples, they can have a sexless marriage. They can have no intimacy
And
and
that's why I
still
say
have a great
yeah,
marriage
yeah.
and a partnership and a commitment to each other. Maybe they both just, there are so many layers to this of like a season, right? There's a season for when you have a high sex drive and a very low sex drive. There's age that comes into factor of when your libido like drops and you're like
Mm-hmm.
going through hormonal changes. And
I mean, even down to the month, your monthly cycle as a woman can affect your sex drive. I totally understand that part
moms
of
with
it.
kids that have like
Just like
your body
exhausted.
has like
Mm-hmm.
just like rapidly in 9 months like changed so much, and you're still like trying to get comfortable in your own skin to be vulnerable and share your body with somebody. That's hard to do, and you're
Mm-hmm.
tired and you're exhausted, and you're like, I've had a kid hanging on me all day and breastfeeding and spit up and cleaning up spills and wiping butts and all of the different things. And it's like, not once was I thinking that I wanted to be intimate with you while all of that was going down,
Mm-hmm.
while you were at work all day chumming it up with your homeboys at work or something. Like, I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah. So for you, when it comes to physical touch and affection, what's the biggest difference between being with a man and being with a woman?
Um, the biggest difference for me is like I always thought I had daddy issues. I've realized I think I have more mommy issues than daddy issues, and having like this like love and affection come from you that's so genuine and like pure. I think that I'm realizing just like one, like words of affirmation is huge for me, but physical touch is just like I was also not really shown that. And so like I'm so um like I crave it. Like I crave like the second you walk by, I'm like, oh my god, I want another hug, I want another kiss.
Mm-hmm.
I
Almost to the point of like when we walk by each other and don't touch, that's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes I'm like, damn, did I do something
I think
wrong?
I
And
had
all
a
they did was walk past without like hugging me.
I think I had a moment in the kitchen recently where we had like a full blown like makeout sesh. And that
It
was
was in the
like
morning.
that was like I was like, I don't think I've ever really felt like that in any of the other relationships I've been in. And I can only compare it to like relationships with men. So like I've never really felt like that urge to just be in the middle of something. Like usually like in previous life I'd be like, I'm in the middle of this, what do you need? Like
Mm-hmm.
what can I help you with? What do you
Mm-hmm.
need right now, you know? And I don't know, like while I'm not saying like that's, anything to be proud of, like that's sad, right? That's a sad feeling when you don't have the desire to do that, but to stop and have the desire to be like, I don't care what is burning in that pan right now. Like this moment right now, standing here, kissing you, dancing with you, feeling all the feelings, like I want to like wrap myself in that feeling
So would you
forever.
say that you prioritize physical touch with me more than you have prioritized it in the past?
100%. But it's like a no-brainer. Like
It
like
doesn't feel like you
women
have to
are like
try.
soft and smooth and curvy and voluptuous and all of the different things, and it's a beautiful thing. Like I want to wrap myself in you. I want to crawl into your skin. I want to live inside you if I can.
Yeah, I feel that.
Like not in a Jeffrey Dahmer way, but like in like a lesbian gets it. Like
Mm-hmm.
they want to fucking crawl inside your skin
Mm-hmm. I heard
and
someone
live
say,
in
I think
it.
this morning on a video that we were like scrolling past, something about how like cuddling when you're a lesbian, there is no actual way to feel close enough. Like
There's
you
not.
can be wrapped in every single intertwined finger and toe and all of the things, and you're still like, yeah, not good enough, still not close enough. And it's like that all the time.
Yeah.
So, what about like PDA? Because that's a big one for
Yeah.
me. For me, it was like, I was never really huge. I mean, maybe when I was a teenager, it was cool to kiss in public, right? Because you're
Mhm.
like 15 and you're whatever. But as an adult,
Mhm.
I never had the desire. I didn't care if my person was holding my hand. I didn't care if I was walking 10 feet ahead of them or if they were walking ahead of me. I was like shopping in other aisles as them. Like
Mhm.
none of that stuff mattered. And I notice with you when we're in public, like even if you're just 2 feet in front of me, I'm like, when are they going to reach back and fucking reach for my hand? I wait for it every
Mhm.
time. And it's like those moments that I'm like, yeah, I do give a shit about physical affection. Like, because PDA itself isn't, like, to me, it's just like, I don't care if I'm in public at this point. Like, I'm still going to hold my person's hand. I'm still going to want to kiss them right in front of fucking Jim Bob who doesn't want to see it.
Yeah, I think for me PDA is in the past, while it wasn't anything I desired or felt necessary, I was still tracking. I was still observant and aware of other straight couples in any situation that might be a little bit more affectionate than I was. And
And you always wondered to yourself,
like why? Like
why
why
can't
like
that
why
be
can't
me?
why
Why
can't
don't
I
I
have
want
that?
that?
And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so like I think there was just like any confused person that is feeling unsure about your sexual orientation is like, why don't I want that? Because that looks like, I used to watch other, whether it was like at family functions or just like strangers in public, but like I would notice a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have that. And I felt like I was just more a sidekick. A sidekick, a bro, a best friend, a bandmate,
Or again, you square it up to being like, oh, I don't really need that.
and a lot of times like I feel like I did a lot of things without without the ex. I did a lot of things on my own, so I was more solo too in a lot of spaces. And that allowed me to observe also from a solo standpoint to where I wasn't just like, oh, they're holding hands, so that's cue for me to like reach out and hold my partner's hand. Like I didn't have that. I think today with PDA, for me, it's not like, ooh, we can, like, there was a time in the past where it was like, you kiss a girl at the bar, you're in college and you like end up kissing a girl at the bar and you get like a shitload of free drinks and attention, and it's like this great feeling of like, oh my god, like everybody thinks we're so cool. Today, as like somebody who's very comfortable being a late in life lesbian, I am able to say PDA is very important to me, but not for the attention, but to claim my space as a person who has a significant other that I'm very much happy with and in love with, and I will not dull my shine. We will not dull our shine for anybody. So I think that for us, if we feel like we want to kiss or we want to hold hands or laugh and hug and all of the things that feel close and cuddly, then that's what we're going to do. And it's not for display. It's not to be sexualized. It's because we are so into each other that that's just how it naturally goes down. And uh it's very real and authentic. It's not this, ooh, what am I going to get in return from it? You know, like that's like very amateur level of like when you realize. But also I want to like just question this of like, if you were one of those people, whether you were in college or you're in your 20s and experimenting and having fun in the bar and you get a little tipsy and you're like gonna dance and like grind up on your best friend and maybe you guys share a kiss or two, are you still straight? Because I feel like maybe not all the straight people out there were doing that, and that was just my like way of like, again, like testing the waters in a very childish way.
See, I don't know. I think that goes into like a whole like I don't know. I'm not gonna get into
You're not
that
gonna
one.
unpack that one?
I just feel like it goes so much further into like there are probably so many people out there who have experimented with so many things, and whether they liked it in that moment or not, whether they were intoxicated or not, you kind of have to sit within where you're at in life right now. You can't, in my opinion,
Okay.
you can't claim certain things just because you experimented with them once or twice. Because if that were the case, we'd still be somewhat straight because we experimented hard with men for a long time.
But see, there was a pattern. So I'm saying like one or two times and you were just like,
but I can guarantee that if we sat down with 50% of the women in the world who are straight, okay, a lot of them would probably have the same story. Yeah, I kissed a girl when I was a teenager. Yeah, I made out with a chick in the bar one time. But they're still straight and happily straight and totally good in their marriage and all of the things. And just because they had that experience, I don't think that always.
But then, so like, if they were to get that, like let's just say like you get the hall pass in your marriage, you're in a straight relationship, you get the hall pass and you're like, you know what, you get a hall pass, I get a hall pass, I want to be with a woman, I'm going to go out and be with a woman. And then you experience this level of intimacy, emotional connection. You have like this explosive feeling that you've never felt before.
Mm-hmm.
You just chalk it up to a good night and go back to regular life, or you just like, a lot of people, maybe I wasn't just maybe it was more than that.
But I don't think everybody would take that hall pass and use it with a woman, is what I'm trying to say. I think a lot of women who got a hall pass would use it for a man.
That's unfortunate, you guys. That is unfortunate.
You're speaking from your own experience of what you would have done and how your college experiences did end up being like, oh my God, I should have known. But I don't think that that's always the case. I think that a lot of people experiment and it doesn't end up being that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I think going back to the PDA thing, a lot of it as of recently, more so recently than ever before, like I kind of want to use the word like safety. Like PDA for you and I is like almost like a safety for each other. Like I know you've told me and I feel the same way that like going out into public by ourselves doesn't feel as safe as going out into public together. which could be questioned
Mm-hmm.
because like we are a gay couple, and right
Mm-hmm.
now being gay in certain areas is very like
Unsafe, right?
But I kind of feel the opposite of like I would rather some shit go down together
Mm-hmm.
or get those looks together, because like I don't get the looks, but I know you get the looks. Every
Mm-hmm.
time you go in public, it doesn't even matter if I'm with you or not. People look at you a certain way, and it
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. I've come to just accept it and move on. But like to be able to stand there and hold your hand through it and make you feel stronger because I'm there with you is like that part of it is kind of important to me.
Yeah, it's like that, like saying, like, kill them with kindness. And it's like when we're in a public space, and while we might express some PDA, I think for me, it's like, while it's not for attention and it's coming from a place of love and affection, it's also me holding my head up high and saying that, like, I am not going to shrink
Mm-hmm.
down at any level for anybody else, because someone might say, I'm okay with it, I just don't want to see it. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
see it in
Then
public.
close your fucking
And
eyes.
like, I think for me, one of the pieces that I struggle with a lot lately is, after being in straight relationships and then having the freedom, the safety net of being any type of way I want it to be, and just be straight passing, and people accept me, and white privilege and all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that today, where was I going with this? I'm losing my train of thought. Just in general, like saying, if you don't want to see it, I'm not going to shrink myself down
Or try to
and
hide it just
try
to
to
make
hide
someone
it,
else comfortable.
because all we ever see is straight representation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm struggling with that right now, of just like, there is not enough queer representation. There's not enough gay representation where we live. And um, even when it comes to like selecting a movie or a TV show, I'm in the stage of like, I sometimes struggle with watching the straight romantic love stories. It's just like, I'm so past that. I don't want to see that anymore. Like, I want to see like a man and a man fall in love, a woman and a woman, a trans person and a, queer person,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like, I want to see like
It's not as
a
common.
variety. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to just keep seeing like straight white people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of it.
And I think as time goes on, it'll become more and more represented in a general state. But yeah, it's difficult.
It is difficult. So I think when like, you hear that classic, like, well, I accept you, and I'm okay with it. I just don't want to see it. I just don't want it shoved in my face. And it's like, listen to yourself for a
Mm-hmm.
minute, bud. Like, we've had it shoved in our face so much that we actually thought that we had to like get in line
That's
with
how we
you.
had to be.
We
Yeah.
had to get in line with you and like conform to that.
Mm-hmm.
And once we realize, like, no, that's not me, it doesn't work for me. While yes, it's a hard conversation to have with your current partner that you still care about and love, and like they are, the father of your children, at the same time you have to like have a conversation with yourself and say, like, what am I doing for me?
Mm-hmm.
Because like going through the motions and pretending, or wishing you had the desire, or like checking it off your list, like you got through that, like those are all signs that we overlooked.
Yeah. I shared something on Instagram this morning that I have my own personal reasons for sharing, but I think it kind of plays a part in this conversation too. And I think it said something along the lines of like, don't become someone who is so forgiving and kind to others that you allow yourself to be disrespected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of plays into this, in like, you don't always have to just like be who someone else wants you to be, to the point of disrespecting who you actually are.
Mm-hmm. And I think what needs to happen and what needs to change from the other side is the acceptance and the love and the transparency to say, I love you however you are,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the ways, right? And I'm not going to treat you differently because all of a sudden you feel this. And I think that starts with parenting and allowing your children to be who they naturally are. If your kid wants to paint his nails or her nails or their nails, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to dress a certain way, that's okay. Discovering your identity. I remember one of my brothers growing up, like, um changing his laugh like a couple of times and like trying to land on like the laugh that he felt the most comfortable with. And that might sound silly today,
Mhm.
but like you're learning yourself. And
Mhm.
I think that we need to have more grace and um just love in our heart and acceptance, and not be closed off, but keep our hearts open to say, you be whoever you want to be, as many
Mhm.
layers as you want to peel off, and like get down to the core, like the core center of like who you really are. And while that might have taken me 40 years to figure out and say out loud, and I'm still learning and I'm still changing, and there's some days where I'm like, okay, I feel really masculine, but I got this little squeaky voice. And like
You do
sometimes I'm
not have a
like,
squeaky
and
voice.
sometimes in like, like there's different people that I'm talking to, and like my voice might change. And like I think about that and I'm like, I'm always changing, I'm always getting more comfortable with myself, I'm always learning like what works and fits for me, and like evolving. And like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just taking time to learn myself. I took time to learn a lot of other things. As a parent, you spend a lot of time like learning your baby's cries before they can talk, so you can know exactly what they need, and the different cues, and all these different love languages we're taught and things. And I think we don't give ourselves enough credit to really learn about ourselves and who we are. And that's a whole nother topic of like intimacy within yourself.
Mhm. Yeah,
To be able
absolutely.
to express intimacy outward, you have to be free of all of the chains and
You have to be
restrictions that are holding you back.
Yeah, you have to be honest with yourself. And I think if you're someone that does lay awake at night and wonder why it's not you that can be affectionate with whoever it is that you're with, like maybe step back and ask yourself, like, am I actually where I want to be? Am I with who I want to be with? And I don't know, like I've said before, change is scary and everyone is afraid of the unknown, but sometimes the unknown can be like the most beautiful thing you've ever experienced.
Yep, you have
So,
to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. um and one other thing I'll just add is like, if you're laying there in the middle of the night, or you're like, wow, I haven't really been intimate with my partner lately, and is that an issue? Do you find yourself ever feeling the desire to initiate? And is that something that you can openly communicate with your person? Because that is one like little red flag that I had, where like I was never in my past relationships with men, I did not initiate. I was fine with, I was like available, right? Which sounds sad to be just like available, but I was there and available. And I was never really a strong desire to initiate. And I think in our relationship today, one thing I've
that
learned
is
is
not the
that
case.
we are equally constantly initiating multiple. And I'm not talking about just like bedroom stuff. I'm like, get your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking.
That's where mine was. Mine was in the gutter with y'all.
I'm,
Sorry.
I'm talking about just like anything of just like intimacy can be like, and like you could go back to like thinking, even if you want to, oh god, we could take this so deeper, just with foreplay and like romance and all of the things, it doesn't just happen in the
Well, and
bedroom.
I
Like
think
there's
that
so
you're
many layers
saying
to it.
initiating dates, initiating surprise plans, initiating gifts, initiating holding your hand in public, initiating all of it, even down to like conversation, starting a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
I totally understand where you were going with that. Now,
You were hoping
20 seconds ago, I
20
was
seconds ago
deep
you
in
were
the gutter and I was
hoping.
like,
Yeah, your head
nah,
was in the
you
gutter. That's why I
initiate
had
for
to point it out.
sure, for
But I'm just
sure.
saying in general, just like,
Yeah.
you're driving along the side of the road and you see a bunch of wildflowers. Stop, pick them, take them home. I don't care if it's you're taking them home to a man or your grandma or your
I'm going to give
mom.
you
Like,
guys a great
stop and
example.
just like keep like do the things that feel good. And like the world sucks lately, and like do the things that feel good and make the time for it.
I went to the bank today to cash a check, and there was a bucket of suckers. And instead of just grabbing one for me, I grabbed one for both of us. So that was a pretty good initiation for me.
You're reaching a little bit, but I do
Okay.
like suckers. So no, I and here's one of the suckers, you guys, right here.
I ain't lying.
This one is yours. And for a hot second, I was like, ooh, I kind of want that one.
Oh, I'll treat
But
you.
and, let me see what flavor you
I know
brought
I
back.
got you the mystery one. I did that on purpose.
Oh, these little dum-dums never disappoint. No, I think it's great to have open conversations with, whoever you feel safe with. It could be a therapist, it could be a best friend, it could be your mom and your parents. I mean, you learn from your parents. Maybe you didn't see, you obviously have the conversation with your partner, but like I'm just saying, like if you're not there yet, because that does take a lot of courage to like have like a sit down talk. And like I think
it is one of the scariest things to date that I have ever done.
I think in like I remember in like previous relationships and marriages of just being like the conversation where you're like, it's getting boring, how do we spice it up, what can we do, and you're just like you're trying, like you're trying. That does not go unnoticed, but like dig deeper. Where are the patterns, where's your mind going to, who's your safe person, who's your like. And yeah, I didn't have two parents together to have a role model of like what a married love and affection is like, right? And while my mom is a great person, she did not have the tools. She was doing the best she could. She did not have the tools to show that love and affection that maybe would have helped me express it a little bit quicker or naturally. And you can layer in like lots of like trauma and past history of SA and like all of the things that might not it might take you a while to break those layers down and give yourself the freedom and the space to say, this feels good, I like this, I want more of it, and I'm going to do everything in my power to keep this feeling going because I do not want it to fizzle out.
Yeah, I think it's way too commonly accepted for the honeymoon stage to just be a stage. And I've been there. There have been relationships I've been in where it was a stage.
Oh, we were told the honeymoon phase would end. And while like it can very much end, whatever you're putting effort in, work in anything in life, when you have a goal or a desire or something that you want to accomplish, if you show up every day for it, if you give 100% every single day, you're gonna get there regardless. You're going to learn stuff about yourself, you're going to grow and evolve and all of the great things, and you're gonna get there. You don't have to take this whole like, oh yeah, that phase end, enjoy that season, freshly newlyweds and the honeymoon phase. Like, don't listen to all that noise.
I think everybody should get to experience a relationship in which you feel the desire to actually put in the effort that allows the honeymoon stage to continue.
Right. Because like I guarantee every single person listening has put in the effort in the upfront chasing, I got to get this person to like me moment.
But if you're finding yourself in a position where you don't care to do that,
reevaluate. It's kind of like re-signing a lease agreement. It's like, and that might sound like a little harsh.
It's a bit rigid around the edges.
It's a bit rigid, right? But it's like, think of it like that, of like you're re-signing this contract, this agreement. Like, are you still like, and maybe you have to amend it a little bit and like rework some of the structure of like what your needs are. And if you're both feeling like your needs are being met, or you're you're growing together, or does it just feel like you have this anchor like really weighing you down?
Do you need to break that lease?
Do you need a break? Do you need like what do you need? Like, tell us in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are. If any of you connected with any of these red flags or like aha moments of like, oh my God, that could be me. Like, what was that? Because for me, it was like the lack of desire, not initiating, and always trying to fill my time with something else.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. That's what we got for you today.